When you think about leaders in World War II, a few big names probably pop into your head, right? Churchill, Roosevelt, Stalin. It's a huge, sprawling topic. But today, we're going to zoom in and look at this whole thing through a very different, very specific lens. So, get this. Our guide for this whole explainer is a student's class notes. Seriously, just raw, handwritten notes. We're going to unpack the story that's hiding in these simple lines. First, we'll look at the guy in Germany who lit the fuse. Then, we'll jump over to France to see how they dealt with the explosion. And spoiler alert, it was messy. All right, so let's start where the notes do, with the one person whose actions, according to this source, really got the ball rolling on the entire conflict. And that figure is, of course, Adolf Hitler. No surprise there. But what's interesting is how the notes frame it. He isn't just a leader. He's presented as the singular force driving everything that's about to happen. His actions are pretty much the first domino to fall in this whole story. Now, this is where it gets really fascinating. The notes label him a totalitarian leader, but look at that little detail right underneath. Elected legally. That's a huge point, right? It's this stark little reminder that he didn't just seize power. He was handed it through a democratic process before he completely took it over. And what did he do with that power? Well, these notes boil it down to three big, dramatic points. First, the goal. Conquer Europe. Second, the trigger. He invaded Poland. And third, the massive consequence. He started World War II. It's so direct, no messing around, just boom, boom, boom. Okay, so that sets the stage. Now, let's see how this aggression from Germany sent shockwaves through France. The country was basically at a huge crossroads, and they were completely torn on what to do next. This wasn't a unified nation, it was a nation breaking apart. And this slide just lays out the dilemma perfectly. On one hand, you have the path of appeasement. The idea was, let's just give him what he wants. Maybe we can avoid another terrible war. But on the other hand, you have the path of resistance. No way. He invaded Poland. We declare war. End of story. Two completely different strategies for a country with its back against the wall. Now, these weren't just abstract ideas floating around. They were real paths, championed by real people. And our notes point us to three specific leaders, each one representing a totally different answer to the crisis. And here they are, all laid out for us in this simple little chart. It's a great cheat sheet. You've got Edouard Daladier, the premier, who goes with appeasement. Then there's the polar opposite, Charles de Gaulle, a general who's all about declaring war. And then there's this third guy, Philippe Pétain, with a really complicated answer, a puppet regime. Let's break down what each of these really meant. So first up is Edouard Daladier. As the elected leader, he chose appeasement. But look at that goal the notes give us, trying to avoid war. You can almost feel the shadow of World War I in that line, can't you? This was a calculated gamble, even if it failed, to stop that kind of horror from ever happening again. And then, doing a complete 180, you have Charles de Gaulle. He wasn't the official head of state, but he stepped up as the leader of the Free French forces. His path was pure defiance. Declare war, period. And I love this little personal detail the notes add. French love him. He became this powerful symbol of hope and resistance for the nation. But it turns out it wasn't a simple choice between giving in and fighting back. The notes show us there was this third, much murkier path, the path of collaboration, led by General Pétain. This is probably the most controversial choice of all, and to really get it, we need to understand the government he was in charge of. And the notes don't mince words here at all. Vichy France is defined in very stark terms as a puppet regime of German. That's it. So this third path wasn't about avoiding war or fighting it. It was about running a part of France under the complete control and direction of the German forces. So when you put all these little pieces together, what story do these simple notes actually tell? It's a powerful story about what leadership looks like in a moment of absolute crisis. You've got Hitler's aggression, Daladier's hope for peace, de Gaulle's defiance, and Pétain's collaboration. The choices these few men made literally decided the fate of millions. And all of this leaves us with one last big question to think about. When you look at those three different paths taken in France, appeasement, resistance, and collaboration, it really makes you wonder, when a country is facing its absolute darkest hour, what kind of leader does it actually need? There's no easy answer, but man, this moment in history gives us a lot to chew on.